What up, people? Mundo in the house. And I want to first apologize right now for if you hear any wind or anything like that. I am over here at College Station with my daughter. And because we are now part of the Aggie family. So, just to get you started here, before we really get started on tonight's topic, guys, I'm sitting out here in the patio in the block T. I don't know. Let me see. Shoot. Let me get you over here. See, this is Kyle Stadium right here, man. Kyle Stadium. Let me turn you around here, guys. And I'm gonna look at that. Look at that freaking awesome stadium, dude. Look at that. Home of the Aggies, man. Kyle Field. Kyle Field, guys. And I'm sorry about the lighting too, man. And I'm over here on the patio. Let me bring you all here with me. Um, Geez, if I can get this in the scene here, and I do apologize. So the Block T is a little bar and grill right here, guys, and I'm on the patio. If you can see that right there, look at that. Look at that beautiful scenery, man. Look at that, guys. My God, see that is so awesome, and they got some awesome people here too. So now we belong to the Aggie family. So yeah, man, tonight's gonna be a badass show, guys. And like I said, look at the background here. The glass is so spotless, man. Got myself a good beer. So cheers, cheers. Charlie, first one in here, man. Let me scoot up in here, guys. Um, I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. So whoever comes on, thank y'all so much for coming in and having a discussion with me on the likes and the ups and downs, I guess, about lightsaber building, right? And I mean, it's a good topic tonight, and I hope that everybody has a good time. I hope all of those who were fathers had a good Father's Day, right? I hope they had a good Father's Day yesterday. Whoa, sorry about that, guys. A lot of wind out here. Thank you so much. So yeah, man, the Block T people are like awesome, awesome, man. And the wind is like crazy, crazy. So I'm gonna have to put my beer so that my phone won't fall again. Hopefully, man. It is crazy windy out here, but I can't. I mean, I didn't want to be stuck in the room and do the show in the room, man, because it's such a beautiful evening out here. And like I said, that Kyle Stadium is magnificent, man. Oh my gosh. So let's get into some of the likes and dislikes of saber building, right? Now, well, and then I realized that I doing the show just a little bit early, right? I'm doing the show just a little bit early, probably about 10 minutes early. And I know some of you haven't gotten on here just yet, so I'm pretty sure y'all gonna join me here. Well, a few more people will be joining here pretty soon. But Charlie, have a good training session, my friend. Um, I know, for me, I guess, and I'll start off the topic for myself, right? One of the ups for me, I guess, as a saber building is when that saber just turns on and it works the way it's supposed to, right? And you get that sense, that euphoria rush that happens when when you first turn it on, and you hear that the ignition go off. Oh, dude, there is just no feeling in the world like it, right? No feeling in the world. So, um, then again, I'm hoping, you pretty much get that feeling with each different saber that you build, right? Each saber that you build. So I feel that. I feel that, and it's such a rush sometimes. And now, of course, I've only built one, two. Right? Well, I built two. Okay. I built the static and I built, NeoPixel. So the feeling's only twice. Working on more, guys. Working on more, right? Um, so I can't wait to finish Roy Boy 2.0 so that I can hear that ignition go off. I can hear my friend go off, and not only that, but get to the next build, right? To get to the next build. Now, again, I would say that one of the downsides to this hobby and to saber building would be the cost of it, right? The cost, well, depending on certain things, okay? It could be a good cost, could be a little bit of a tough cost, depending on your economic situation, right? You also have to see, like for me, I save up for parts. I save up for parts, get the parts together, and then go from there, right? And like Rich Sangillo, man, he printed me out chassis for my builds, and I just cannot wait to get those chassis, put together in terms of wiring and so forth. Um, and I would say another up. How can I put this, man? Another up for the saber building is the anticipation part of it, right? And again, guys, it's kind of windy out here, so I do apologize if you hear all the wind and everything. Um, but there there are not too many places in here where I can go and do the show. Um, but yeah, dude, you just see that's one of the ups to saber building is the anticipation of it coming to life. And if you have that passion for it, if you have that drive, that want to see it come to life, yo, there is a major up to it. Major up to it, right? Now, again, on the flip side of that, a major down point, like I said, is one of the little down part points is the cost. But hey, NN, hello, my friend. Welcome, welcome, man. So I'm glad you're here. Well, tonight's topic, right, is the ups and downs of saber building. So, um, do you agree with me? NN is one of the ups would be the anticipation in either getting it done, wiring it up, or the anticipation of wiring it up, and it's gonna be like so badass and all that. Sinzi's in the house. Sinzi's in the house. I'm coming to you guys from College Station, man. So yeah. So what you see behind me is crazy, dude. It's crazy. All of these glasses, mirrors, and everything. I mean, it is dope over here, man. It is badass over here. And now that we're part of the Aggie family, man, Kyle. I mean, just right across from me, right across from me is Kyle Field, man. And as a matter of fact, George Strait was performing here on Sunday night. Not Sunday night, excuse me. Probably no, it was Friday night, man. Yeah. So, but crazy cool. I'm gonna grab my glass real quick, guys. So crazy cool stuff, right? Crazy cool stuff. So, yeah, and I wanted to do tonight's show over here. I didn't want to be stuck in the room and doing the show in the room because, you know, Kelly and the daughter over there just kind of chilling out. I didn't want to have them hearing all my craziness. That's on my to-do list. Building the lightsaber on my own would make it more valuable to myself. And yes. Now, is it an up for the anticipation? Is the anticipation just like getting you all psyched? Like you were like super stoked. ready to go, get my parts, and let's go, right? So I would consider that a major up in terms of, the saber building process. Now you could have an also hell yeah. Get it, Bubba, get it, man. I'm telling you, I was so stoked to get Roy Boy done, and I got it done. And then, of course, it fried a couple of boards, and I'm redoing it. So yeah, man, I am super stoked to get it redone, and I'm almost there. I got a couple more steps left to put the board in. Now I got to put the board in and the pins, and then try to get her tested, man. Yeah, try to get him tested, not her, him. So the anticipation is just overwhelmingly like badass, right? Um, so again, and then what would be the downside of the build process for you? What is it, like an economic factor? Is it the fact that maybe you have to order parts from afar and they take so long to get to you? See, I think it's another downside because depending on where you live, right? Depending on where you live, you get those parts, and it takes a long time. It takes a long time for you to get those parts, and so sorry, we got some people coming, man. No worries, guys, but it's all good. Hey, and to get those parts in, it may take a couple of months because if they run out of parts, if they run out of parts, then you can't get them in the time that you're wanting to finish the build, right? Or maybe you got half the parts. Maybe you got half the parts. My downside is the skill level, and I'm worried about burning out the board. Well, and then I tell you what, look, dude, my skill level is not where it should be either right now. And I did burn out two boards. I burned out two CFXs, man. And because I did not, there's certain things that I didn't pay attention to. Okay, I wasn't very meticulous on certain things, and what ended up happening was because I did not have I didn't have a full chassis in it. It was just wires inside of it, right, and the battery and everything. And it worked awesome for a little bit. But what ended up happening was that the jacket from one of the wires, there was a single strand sticking out, and because it was so small that I didn't see it, it touched the metal and it burnt out my board. So while I was swinging it around, the wires were moving around, and that's end up what happened, right? And I did it twice. So, like I said, with the grace of God and Rich Sangillo, man, printed me a 3D chassis for Roy Boy 2.0. Now I'm hoping to alleviate that problem, and of course I went down to a Golden Harvest board instead of a CFX. Now again, the cost factor, right? The cost factor of that, it's a lower costing board, but at the same time, the board is just as good. The board is pretty good. I'm impressed with the Golden Harvest board itself. So I'm hoping that I can do justice in wiring up this board like I did the CFX. Now the CFX, you have a bit smaller holes, and the Golden Harvest has bigger pads. So there's a big and huge difference. I think um, and then your skill level is a little, like you said. If you feel it's a downside, it's okay, but you got to trust in yourself too, man. Check the manual, check the wiring diagrams, do uh, you know, perfect your soldering to your wires before you even do any part of your build. Um, I took a whole year and a half. I took a whole year and a half to learn how to solder properly the wires together. And even just learning the solder itself. I'm a very slow learner, okay? But when I get it, and it doesn't go away once I get it done. And even Space Windows says that my wiring has improved significantly, and I feel that my wiring has improved significantly. So again, um, just because your skill level may be where it's at, just keep practicing and working on that. And I say it's an up. It's a little bit of an up when you're first. It's a little bit of a down when you're first starting out, but at the same time, yeah, yeah, and then that's a great idea if you want to start that way and then move up to CFX later on, right? Oh, Charlie, man, I'm no wizard, dude. I, it's just trial and error, dude. But I thank you, sir. Thank you so much, man. It's trial and error. Okay, if you do the lower costing boards, it doesn't hurt as bad. I went full. I ran full blown before I could walk, and I should have gone the other way. I should have did the lower board, the lower costing boards first, learn it that way, and then moved up to the CFX. Even I should have even gone with the Verso to begin with, but I didn't, right? But that was, and again, to me, that's kind of an up and a down the way I did it. Hmm. And the beer's good, man. Whew, man, beer's good. Um, I say it's an up and a down, right? And the reason why I say it's both an up and a down, the downside of that was because I messed up two boards, right? But the upside of that, hey Titan, what's up, man? You're not, dude. You're never late, man. I don't know. No, okay, guys. Nobody is ever late. You're late if Mundo Madness Monday is done with and over, and you rewatch it. That's when you're late. If you're in when I'm on, you're not late. Okay, you're good, man. You're good, Titan. All good, dude. It's all badass, man. So again, like I said, there was a good, there was an up and a down to it. Like I said, killing those two boards, that was a big down, right? But the upside of it was that I learned a lot as well because without burning those boards, I wouldn't be as meticulous now in looking at my wiring before, I put something onto the pads as I did before, right? Check the wires, check the jackets, make sure nothing's really able to touch the metal and everything else like that. So um, the big upside to it, like I said, is once you get to that learning factor, and once you get that experience, then you can do better and bigger stuff, right? Um, and like I said, there's more ups than there are downs in in terms of the building process. Now, hey, Cindy, let me ask you this, man. When you first started, and when you were building uh, chassis and building your sabers, what was one of the biggest ups for you? Was it the anticipation factor? Was it the building factor itself? Was it the fact that you could, get all kinds of good stuff and then here and there, or like what was your upsides to all of this? And then says that my ultimate goal is to do a CFX lightsaber pixel build and the blade myself as well. A TriStar kit. Oh yeah, I've got to do a TriStar eventually, man. Practice makes perfect sense. Of course, Titan. Of course, right? I mean, I like I said, I went full balls, full running, full blast, and I shouldn't have done that, but I did, and I learned a lot. Space has taught me a lot, and there's a bunch of people on, the YouTube that teach you and do a lot, right? The learning, I love learning new skills. Yeah. So that's one of the upsides to it, right, Cindy? Now, and again, like I said, that some of the that's one of the greatest upsides to it is because if you're learning this new skill and you get it and you got it and it stays with you, you can pull that to anything else in life. You know that's that skill that you have, right? Probably why I have a hard time sticking with one hobby. It's a problem. Oh, nothing wrong with that, Cindy. Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong. Again, man, I'm out here on the patio at the Block T Bar and Grill, man. They were so gracious to let me sit out here in this beautiful patio. And they got some great people in there. And for Cindy and Titan, in case you guys didn't know, I'm out here in College Station outside of Austin, right? Um, home Aggieland, Aggieland. So yeah, it's freaking awesome, dude. Um, where was I? Um, okay, so I think that one of the biggest downs to the hobby is if you've got companies that run low or they are out of products in terms of what you need for your builds, then you got to wait anywhere from 2 months, maybe a month, several, maybe even several months, right, to get that part. So let's say, when we were having that chip shortage and we had to wait, we were paying bukus of money for soundboards, but then again, maybe you couldn't even get a soundboard for months just because of certain things that went onto those soundboards, right? No, Titan, it's not my favorite watering hole, buddy. I'm over here because my daughter's gonna come to college over here, College Station, and so we're doing orientation with her, and this watering hole was gracious enough to let me stay out on the beautiful patio to do the show. So, so and just in case you might hear some people, and if you hear a lot of wind because I'm out here and it's very windy, right? Um, but yeah, right across from me is Kyle Field, man, the big ass stadium that they have, and it is really magnificent. So for those of you who just came on, let me show you guys. I'm gonna kind of walk around, and so I'm sorry if you really can't see anything, but I'm gonna turn it around so you can see Kyle Stadium right here, man. Look at that. That is just a beautiful, beautiful stadium right there, man. So yeah, pretty badass, pretty badass. So again, like I said, guys, if I apologize if people are coming and going and you hear all the wind and everything like that. But like I said, I mean it is gorgeous evening out here. I got half a full moon and whoo, I tell you, amazing, amazing setting, amazing place. We're actually at the hotel in College Station right now. So it is a really cool place, dude. Really cool place. They got everything here. See, and I bet you, I bet you, if my daughter may end up finding some people, right, who have like nerds around here, she might run into some people who love sabers. So if they start asking her and she starts telling everybody, "Hey, my dad does saber stuff," I might be getting some people, you know, call it, and she might be calling me for things about sabers for her friends. That might be a good a big up for the saber stuff, right? It might be a big up right there, having people call you. Hey, how do I get a hold of a saber? Hey, what saber should I get? Questions like that, right? Right, Titan. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. It looks like a Star Wars place, man. It looks like a Star Wars place around here. Well, at least on the patio, anyway. It's great. I mean, you could just put a little bit of dirt on the ground and around the bar and stuff, everything like this out here, and shoo, I tell you, make it work, make it work. So I would say Felicia, yes, on location. I actually wasn't going to do the show really, and the wife said no. Why don't you do it on the patio? So I took her advice and I came and I did the show out here. So again, like I said, if people are coming out here and they're talking, I do apologize. For the most part, for the most part, you know, it's empty right now, so that's good. Um, and again, the upside to certain things, like I said, the upside to certain things in terms of saber building, again. Well, let's see. Let's go back, okay? And I was talking about saber parts, right? So the big downside of waiting for the saber parts, depending on where you live, too, right? So depending on where you live, could be the downside of saber building and getting your saber parts, because it could take a long time. It could take a short amount of time for you to get your parts, depending on the companies as well, right? So if you've got good, solid companies that have a good amount of stock, you could get your parts pretty fast, or you could get your parts pretty slow if you deal with certain companies that don't care, or they want to send you trash parts, right? Then you got to call your customer service and people, and they don't do anything for you, right? So again, like I said, that's another downside to that. And I think one of the biggest upsides for me as well is um the design factor in in the lightsabers building, right? Because you want to get sabers that really interest you, and there's every different kind of sabers for everybody. Now I know, like me, I can't get every saber that I see and like ooh, you know. No, I got to save up for certain things, right? And then it says, yeah, get parts here, and here's killer, and the shipping costs, right? Okay, shipping cost I think is another killer part. That kind of is a downer sometimes. Yeah, if you could just have it with just a little bit less shipping price on it, yeah, like I said, depending on where you live, right? Depending on where you live. But again, for me, the one of the ups is the saber design, and I really enjoy the saber designs that have been coming up. There's a lot of saber designs. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of saber designs that I actually want to get. But there's another downside to that because I can't get everyone that I want, right? So, in order to alleviate that, one at a time, right? One saber at a time, get the one that I really want and work on that one, right? Now, for me, one of the biggest upsides in learning how to install myself is that I don't have to rush it. I don't have to do it for anybody. And I can take my time with it. Whereas because I don't have a whole lot of time sometimes to do anything saber wise, my my schedule is so crazy that I end up getting busy with all this and all that, the kids and everything, and there's not much you can do because you can't edit live, you can't do live, that way. And so sabering brings a lot of joy. So that's another up up stuff to lightsaber building, right? Is the joy of building these lightsabers, and not really building for anybody. So again, sorry guys for the. Like I said, I'm out here and we got to deal with it. So I can't edit it out because you can't edit live, right? Gotta love it though. Gotta love it. Yes. Getting the parts here is yeah. Okay. Now, what's one of the things that you love is the upper part. I would say what, and then what is another downside that you feel about say getting to build your own saber, man? What is the other downside to that? I would say, you know, Titan. What about you? What would be the downside to that? Okay, yeah, yeah. I might have to. Titan says, "Does anyone here hand draw saber designs on paper?" Now, Titan, is that a down or up or good? When you do your drawings, is that an up or a down? I would say, and basically it's my skill level and shipping cost. Okay, everything else is upside for me. I would say that participation, yeah, right. Ooh, guys, I'm gonna move a little bit, all right, and I'm gonna keep you all right here with me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off the camera real quick, and so y'all can hear me. And I'm gonna move a little bit, all right, and then I'm gonna continue the show, and I can still see and hear you guys, right? And I will get into another table, and I'll show you here in just a minute, all right, guys? So again, I apologize for the noise and all that good stuff. And I'll come to another level over here, and I will move where it's a little less noise. It's all good. I can't help that. Everybody's entitled to their stuff. So I'm gonna come over here to another area. It's a little less lit, but nonetheless, it'll be good. It'll be a good little spot, right? And hopefully, I got a little table over here. Yeah, not so much noise, and I give them their. And there's a lot less wind right here too, so they'll be good. They'll be good. All right. So I'm gonna get the cam back on. Okay. So I'm gonna show you another little spot right here. I'm gonna come around so you guys can see all of this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Jeez, look at that. Like that's just gorgeous, guys. Look at that. That's just gorgeous. I was way down here. I was way down here. So yeah, yeah, that's just gorgeous. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. So again, guys, like I said, I apologize for the people, but yeah, I can't help that one. Still got my beer. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, thank you, Felicia. I like seeing the blueprint hand sketching. Creative up. Yes, Titan. I agree. Creative up, right? Um, I think there's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of positivity if you can draw in modern day Jedi Temple. There you go. And then I like that. I really like that. Yeah, it really is. It really is. I think. See, I can't draw even if it. I can't draw if it meant to save my life, dude. I would get shot quickly, very quickly. I couldn't draw. I even mess up stick figures, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mess up stick figures, right? So again, go into drawing. I think those who can draw out their saber designs really have a lot of creativity talent, and it's a big up because I do get jealous sometimes because I wish I could draw stuff out. There are so many ideas in my head that I want to get out, but I can't because I don't know how to draw. And I could possibly learn how to draw. It would just take me a good long while to learn. It would take me a long time to learn. Uh, but that's I commend those that can draw. Like Anthony. Anthony can draw. I mean, like, come on, he does comic books for crying out loud. That boy can draw. I mean, Jesus, man. Anthony kills it with his drawings, and especially his, Albatross Junction comic book. Love it, love it, and I can't wait for the new. I can't wait for the new one to come out. Hopefully he'll be doing the next issue and coming out pretty soon. Or I know that he's working on another type of comic book too, right? So I wonder how far him and Kevin are getting on that other one. That would be kind of cool, right? Back to the Sabers, ups and downs. Okay, so Cindy, do you think that not being able to stick to one hobby is a downside to things? I mean, I know you said you mentioned it a little bit, but do you really think that it's a downside to it? I kind of don't. I mean, because you can always go back and forth. If you get bored on one or the other, you can always go back and forth. Oh, I do apologize for the train, guys, too, because yeah, the train comes right through here. I mean, the train's right smack dab in the middle of the college. You hear that? Jesus, a lot of trains coming through here. Woo! That should be the new Jedi Temple sound, right? The new Jedi Temple sound is the train. Oh my God, that's loud. Now put that in a sound font, right? Put the train sound on a sound font. Reverb it very high and put the hum into it. And oh my God, I bet you it would sound amazing, right? For a sound font, a train sound font. But the reverb and oh, that might be an up right there, guys. Right on the show, Mundo Madness Monday, right? Only here on the Mundo Madness show can you hear that. Okay, which one of the sound font makers are listening and watching? Because if you're listening and watching, get get some train sounds, make a font out of it, and then put in and kind of mix it in with a starship sound, right? Right, and then that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I give people ideas all the time. I'll never get credit for it because I won't do it, but that's all right. You hear all these ideas on the Mundo Madness show, guys, and watch. You'll see somebody do it, but ain't nobody will mention it on here, right? It's funny. I have to laugh at it, man. Now, if they use it, that I think that it's cool if I don't get credit for it. But at the same time, if you hear it and say, "Hey, oh, dude, that dude pulled it off," but you know what? Mundo's the one that told everybody about it, right? That's cool. It'll be an upside. It'll be an upside to hear it. I mean, because I won't do it. I don't have the means to do it. I could if I learned how, but my schedule's so hectic, I'm not going to make time for it. So if any of the fun makers out here, BK, if you're listening, man, try for it. Go for it, dude. Call it the Saber Train. The Saber Train font. Right? You folks hear it first. That's going to be that would be like a cool sound font, though, actually. Actually, I think it would. Like you said, and I agree with you. Kind of menacing right here, right? Just that going over those things. Menacing sound. And then you with that that hum and that reverb. Woo! Now I think if you turn it on for the ignition, you hear that big train, the horn when they're doing the horn for the ignition. Yee! Oh man! And then the retraction. I think the retraction would be like the rail lights. You know when they bring down the bars and stuff. Oh, so and then you're learning how to create your own sound fonts. Oh, they do. See, now there's a big up right there. I bet that's exciting, right? Yeah, I think that's a huge upside is to make it more personalized. The clocking on the tracks. Oh, the clacking on the tracks. Yeah, Felicia. There are so many sounds out here right now that can be registered into a sound font for Saber. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yes, I mean absolutely. The personalization is such a huge up on the Saber building part as well. I agree 100%. Oh, dang! Now we got cycles on the Jesus. Again, guys. Like I said, I apologize for all the noise out here, but what can you do, right? I did not want to do. I didn't want to not do the show, and like I said, I wasn't going to. But wife said, "Hey, you might have an amazing show going on out there in the patio, man." I'm like, "That's an idea, babe. I'm going for it." So we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And it's such a lovely evening too, man. I was worried that it was going to be raining out here. Now I'm wondering if I would have stayed out here in the rain doing the show. If it was just a sprinkle, I would. But then if it got poured, then yeah, I'd have to run in and do it. Um, I would say another factor of downside for the Saber building. Hmm. I would say, well, depending if you are an installer that is commission based, right? If you're an installer that you're not installing for yourself and you're having to do commission work, um, I would say a little bit of the downside to it is the time constraints, right? That you have a certain amount of time to get the installs done, and they have, well, and of course, your work has to be impeccable, of course, right? You don't want to have bad work like certain companies do. They just kind of rush everything and get it out the door when they give it to you, and then it may or may not work. So you don't want that. I think that's another thing. The downside of saber building and sabering is that if you try to when you're doing your building and you get to the point where you're ready to test and certain things don't work, that can be a big downer right there because you're like, damn, I checked my work, I double checked it, and everything looks right, but not everything is working the way it should. So then you got to go, and here, and it may not be a downside, but it may be a little bit of pain in the ass as well, because then you got to go back into, you got to go back into the manual, see where what's going on, what's done, what hasn't been done, what you might need to change up, what you might need to fix, right? Um, and there's all kinds of resources that you can use to do that. And the first resource is, the manual, of course, right? Second resource is looking up stuff like YouTube videos, saying, okay, I saw this. I think I did that. It could be that, and we can do it, right? Okay, so I need to change this and see if that works. So that's another downside to it because if something doesn't work, it is the time factor that goes into figuring out what you did wrong in order to get it remedied where it's functioning properly. Everything. So let's say you got everything working right, except you might have an LED that's not working properly. Maybe there's a wire loose. Maybe your soldering is a little uh, less on par. Um, it could be that maybe when you put the saber together, one of the wires popped off, and you don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of factors that go into it, and that's, like I said, that's one of the downsides to it is that you have to kind of take the time to figure out what went wrong with your install. So you spent all this time getting it done, getting it installed, and then something doesn't work right. So now you got to go back and go fix it. I think it's not that big of a deal, but at the same time, it is like a little downer because then you get so excited you want it to work properly and it doesn't, right? Um, and I love that the fact that you have so many ways and so many avenues of getting help. I think that is um, a big upper in saber building because in the saber building process, because not only do you have the YouTube videos, not only do you have the manual, not only do you have forums that go on, you know, that you can get into and ask, like the TCSS forum, all these different forums that you can get on and ask questions, or even see what people have already did, what they're asking about, and look and see if you have the same problem. And if you can't find the answer in any of those forums and any of the videos and anything else like that, then you say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna text or I'm gonna email so and so and see if they can help me figure out what I'm doing wrong. So again, the big upper part is so many avenues to get help with your build that it's ridiculous, right? And I love that because there's so many people available to help you, and even though you don't even have to directly, email them, call them, or whatever have you go, there's so many forums and everything else, so many avenues to look that you're gonna find the answer one way or another. You will find the answer one way or another. Now, Cindy, Titan, have you guys? I mean, have you guys had to go into forums and um, get and look into when you go? Let's say you had a problem with some of your builds. Did you go into the forums and look for your question and find the answer? Because I think that most times when you go and you do that, you're going to find the answer you're looking for. Felicia says, I'd like to think a downside to saber building would be copying what someone has already done. But on the flip side, there's so many customization options. Yeah, Felicia, it is a little bit of downside where you have a lot of stuff that is the same thing over and over again, right? But then again, you even just that little tweak you got to listen for on the sound font, or maybe that little tweak in the design itself of a different saber design wise. Then again, you also have the I want to say, there's just so many things that you can change up, right? There's so many different designs of sabers. There's so many different fonts to go through, and each one could be different. Each one could be the same, just depending on who you go through, right? Like I said, I believe that there's mostly ups than there are downs to it. Now there are what would I say in terms of another saber building flaw? Oh, okay. So let's see. Since this is I use the Facebook groups 99% of the time, someone has already had the same issue as you, or so you can just search the group for your issue and usually find a solution. Perfect. See. Now, like I said, I think that's a great up right there because that's such a great resource, and so many resources is such a great help to everything. You're gonna find a solution no matter what. And going back to some flaws, I would say another downer in the saber building process, and it may not be a downer either. I could be totally wrong about this, but let's say you're having to build a certain piece, right? You're having to build a certain piece for your saber because there is not one already readily available. So you either have to commission somebody for, uh, let's say, a special emitter, let's say a special body design, right? Because you can't build it yourself. You don't have, let's say you don't have a lathe. So, or even some of those other tools required to make certain pieces for your sabers. You have to, you know, get somebody to make those pieces for you. So it kind of takes the joy away from that piece that you would have to make yourself because you don't have those tools to make it. But then, commissioning somebody to get that piece done and you get it is an I would say it's a double-edged sword, so to speak, right? A double-edged sword. Because if you have somebody like Jeremy, for instance, from Solos, who's got a lathe and he can make a certain piece for you, then and you commission that piece from him, you're going to get a quality piece from Jeremy, right? And no matter what you do, uh, if you don't have a lathe, like I said, that's the downside. That if you don't have your own workshop to make your things, it may be a double-edged sword because you're going to have to spend money in order to make that piece. Whereas if you spend money on a lathe and some other products for a workshop, and you can make those pieces yourself, right? Um, and you have to really have, I would say, communication between two people. If you're getting certain pieces made, also is crucial. So there could be an up and downside to that as well. communication between you and the person making that part, or you or you're getting a saber mace, like I said, like and Jeremy, from Solo Sabers, he makes such amazing things. Um, and Tim from Tearfon Orbital too, right? These guys that I mean they make such amazing things. Uh, so when you commission somebody like that, you make sure that your communication is on par, because if you say one thing and then you change your mind here and there, but you don't really communicate what you're looking to do. Be clear, concise of what you want, so that it doesn't time doesn't go by too fast, and then they have to go back and figure out what you really want, and that kind of distracts from everything as well. So to me, that might be a little downside in terms of really not knowing what you want at the time. And if you do know exactly what you want and you take the time to explain to the maker everything that you want, then it could be like a very, very quick process in getting that part or even that saber made, right? Um, and I'll tell you, I mean, it's like it could be fast, it could be quick, so it's a double-edged sword. But I think that communication is really key to it. Really, a really big key to it. Let's see. I hope Charlie's having a good workout session, man. Charlie's gonna have a really good workout session here, and we've got beautiful designs for sabers as well, right? I mean, that's just you've got so. I think it's a double-edged sword too, in terms of deciding what sabers that you want to get for yourself, or even make for yourself, depending if you want to buy the body and then do it yourself stuff, or if you want to buy it already installed, right? So again, it's up and down, up and down, up and down. I really think that it's a double-edged sword to certain things. There's a lot of ups and a few downs, a few downs. But the joy factor of it really increases exponentially with the anticipation factor. A big upside to it. Well, folks, Cindy, man, Titan, NN, Felicia, I am glad that you guys hang out with me tonight. Um, I am really honored that you guys came and hung out with me on the show tonight. It's such a beautiful place, campus, and again, have to thank that bar for allowing me to do the show out here in the patio. So tonight, guys, I'm gonna call it right now. Oh my God, it's right after 1 hour mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it, guys, and I'll see you later. I'm gonna brand out. Let's see here, branding out. Muda.
We pour whiskey.